So thank you guys for jumping on tonight. I was super excited to have Sara on for this particular call about this particular topic, because for those of you who don't know or didn't get a chance to read the intro to the team call tonight, it's we're having it because Sara attended. She went through Chalene Johnson's. Oh, hold on real quick. I'm going to have everybody mute their line if they haven't already. I might just mute everybody here. There, I'll just mute everybody. Okay. So you can hear me still? Okay. So in June, before Summit, Sara attended, she went through the Marketing Impact Academy that Chalene Johnson hosts. And she actually got to go to California and participate in the live seminars with Chalene Johnson. And for those of you who don't know who Chalene is, she's TurboFire, she's Pio, she's the mastermind behind that brand, and she's become kind of this entrepreneurial guru. And now she basically trains people on how to start their own businesses, how to run their businesses through social media, and how to be effective and successful doing that. So Sara and her husband, a little background, both have careers, now with Beachbody for Sara in, home-based businesses and a lot of internet marketing and that kind of thing. And another little tidbit about Sara, I know the majority of us who signed up as coach before, when we first started, we started as maybe 90% of us started as challengers. Sara's kind of unique in that I think it was Ryan who actually listened to the podcast first, if I'm not mistaken. Ryan, her husband, heard a podcast from Kelly Jimenez that she was on, and he actually suggested this something for Sara to do, and it might be a good option. She's a teacher, but she, teaching is such a hard career, and I know she wanted something more for her life, and so it was cool that she went into Beachbody for the business side of things. She had already been on a health journey. This, added to it, but she also was business-minded when she went into this. And for a lot of us, yes, we get great results and we get to help people, but I love that she has that perspective on it because she came into this business a different way than most people. So that's my little soapbox on Sara. I'm going to unmute everybody, but hopefully you all are still muted on your own sides. But yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah, I'll talk about the last thing at the end, but go ahead, Sara, take it away.
So in Marketing Impact Academy, you get to do an 8-week online course. So there's a ton of information, and it was super hard for me to think, what can I sum up in 30 minutes that's going to be really helpful for you and your biggest takeaways that you can do right now. So I settled on 3 things to tell you, and 2 of them are something that I'm consistently doing all the time now. And one of them is a takeaway that I'm still really working on, but it's actually the reason I started the Academy, so I could learn more about this 3rd thing. So today I'm going to tell you about knowing who your target market is or creating an avatar. And the second one will be using stories to sell so you never have to feel salesy or pushy. And if you listen to Chalene, this is that's her thing. That's what she'll always talk about. So I'm going to break down your story formula for you that should be in almost every post you put out there. And then the 3rd thing is bringing in new customers through the use of a freemium, or it's also called an opt-in. And that's the 3rd one is what I'm still kind of working on because it's a detailed process, but once you nail it down, it's simpler. Or so she says, and so my husband says. So I'm going to start with knowing your target market or creating what they call an avatar. So when I first started coaching, I used to make my posts about challenge groups really broad and super general because I wanted anyone and everyone, but I had to learn how to narrow it down to find my perfect people. And when I was just shooting out messages that were I'm looking for 10 people who want to improve their health and fitness, I would get nobody. But as I kind of started thinking, well, who is my perfect customer? Who do I want to work with? Who would I want on my team as a coach? I started getting a lot more people actually commenting on my posts about coaching, commenting on my posts about challenge groups, and actually getting people that are really fun in my challenge groups. Because we all know that if you're stuck with people that maybe aren't super serious about it, then it's just kind of a dead group. So coming up with your perfect person in the mind, it will tell you how to write this is the person who you're going to write all of your posts to. And it's kind of like you're creating your best friend in your mind. and you will know everything about this person. You're going to think about what they wear, their hobbies, their job, if they're married or single, and if they're a parent. And you know this person because they're you, but they're you in the past. So that's kind of was her big thing. They're you 10 minutes ago. And that's who you're talking to a lot of the time. And a really cool story she told was about when she went on to QVC and she had to sell either Turbo Jam or Turbo Fire. They have you take a day-long class about selling, but not telling your story while you're selling. And they say you need to find your girl that you're going to be talking to the whole time. So she created this lady in her mind that she just knew was the person she was talking to through the screen. And she said when the first caller came on, it was a man. And she was like, wow, that wasn't my person at all, but here's a man asking me a question about this. And that hit me because I was like, I don't want to narrow it in. I want this big, huge audience because I just want as many people as possible. And when she said that, I was like, oh, it just makes you, when you really have a person that you're keeping in your mind, it makes you more authentically you. And then those people are going to come to you that you need in your life. So I want you to think about some of the obstacles that you stood in your way before your journey with Beachbody coaching or just Beachbody in general, or any obstacles that make you uniquely you. So think about different things that you've gone through that make you an expert in that area. And then some questions to answer, and this is something you can do as I'm going through these or on your own time, but what was happening in your life right before you participated in your first challenge group? So think about, were you struggling with your weight? Were you tired? Were you a new mom and you were unable to find your identity as a mom? Or were you just struggling with nutrition? What was your piece before, and that kind of drew you to that challenge group? So that question again was, what was happening in your life right before you participated in your first challenge group? And then the second question, if you're building your avatar, is what were your past habits that you had? I'm sorry, I'm reading too as I go so I don't miss stuff. What were your past habits that you have worked hard to overcome? So for me, they've been emotional eating, body image issues, and then putting myself first. So those are things that I like to try to put into every post. So what were your past habits that you have worked hard to overcome? And then what are 3 to 4 things you learned in your first challenge group that helped you overcome these problems? Were they portion control, having a workout schedule laid out for you? Was it finding out that accountability was key to your success? That was huge for me in my first challenge group. Because like Kinsey said, I didn't really even go into coaching. I went into a challenge group before I signed up as a coach just to kind of see what it was, but I kind of knew I wanted to be a coach. But the accountability was just huge for me in the groups. So that's something I try to talk about too. And then what were 3 to 4 things that you think make up the perfect challenger? So those are those things that you want to talk to that person whenever you're writing those posts. And then what was happening in your life right before you signed up as a coach? For me, I was teaching, but my hours had been cut repeatedly and I was looking for something else. So I almost signed up as a Mary Kay rep. I was like moments away from hitting submit and then did all this research and was like, oh God, this isn't right for me. I'm not going to do this. So I was kind of thinking there was something else out there for me. But what were your things that made you drawn to coaching? I know for Kinsey, it was the challenge group. And I just saw Laura's comment. You did Mary Kay. I'm like, I love their products. But so I know for Kinsey, it was helping people go through their own journey. That was what drew her to this. So that's kind of what she talks about when she's talking to people about coaching. And then what was happening? What are 3 to 4 things that you have learned from being a coach? And what are 3 to 4 things that you think make up a great coach? So that was really hard for me. What are 3 to 4 things that you think make up a great coach? Because again, I just wanted anybody and everybody, and I think a lot of us do. And it's really hard when people are saying no all the time, but I have to work really hard now to tell myself that the right people are going to come to my team that I need. So those are the questions. And if you guys want, I can send you my notes that I did on this call too. I can put them into the file section or something. So, because I know I feel like I talk really fast when I get nervous. So essentially the answers to these questions are going to help you start thinking about who you're looking for in potential customers and coaches, because face it, you don't want everybody in your challenge groups or on your team. And you've had people decide to be a coach or be in your challenge groups that were just not your cup of tea and it just didn't work. And that's why. So if you're me, you want people that show up every single day and push hard, and they're still willing to crack a few jokes in your challenge group, so it makes it fun for you. So my avatar is a working mom. She's busy, but she's dedicated to her health and fitness. And unfortunately, old habits have a way of creeping up and making this hard, like emotional eating or sleeping in instead of working out, and telling herself that it's okay to miss a few workouts here and there. So, and then I also try to put a lot of humor into my posts because I am looking for people that are pretty fun. Because I always think too, once you all go to the Diamond Retreat or meet in person, it's so fun when you meet your team and you're like, oh my gosh, we do all actually get along, and they are really fun. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, what if I had a coach and I met him in person and they were like a big drag? So I'm like, oh, I got to make sure they know I'm funny, and that's not going to happen then. So, and when you write a post or do a video, you're keeping that person in your mind. So that is all the creating an avatar. I heard about the whole avatar thing from my husband, and I was just like, it's not important. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then when I went through all of her questions, it's really honestly helped me. So take some time to go through those questions and really have that person. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is using stories to sell, so you never have to sell or feel pushy. So that was my big fear, because I know we all know people who do sell stuff online, and that's all they talk about, and it's like sell, sell, sell. So I want you to come up with 3 stories that really explain some pivotal moments in your life. Why? Because people love a story, and when you tell a story, people can't turn away from it. So one of the stories that I love to tell is how I became a runner. I use this a lot for Transformation Thursdays and Transformation Tuesdays and Throwback Thursdays. I get those two confused. But here's my story. So when my kids were 4 months old, I felt really lost, and I thought I was going to love being a mom so much. And I thought I was just going to love sitting at home and watching TV and rocking my babies. And that's not how it actually went for me. And looking back at it now, I don't know why I thought I was going to love having babies, because I'm not a baby person. But I do love my kids very, very much. So don't take any of this the wrong way. But when they were little, I was lost. And I had a lot of anxiety, and I was never an anxious person. So that really bothered me. And I had a C-section, and I was really confident with that decision to have a C-section. It was planned, but then I found out there are all these moms that are just kind of shaming towards parents that have moms that have C-sections. And then I was totally unable to produce breast milk. So there was just all these things where I was like, oh, I'm totally failing at this mom thing. And I'm totally out of shape. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. And a friend told me, oh, you should try running. And I was like, oh, heck no, I don't run. If you ever see me running, it's because somebody's chasing me. That's not for me. No, thank you. And she just kind of kept being like, oh, you should try it. You should try it. I did Couch to 5K. So finally, I remember sitting there with my 2 babies, and I was feeding them both a bottle. And I started being like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the Couch to 5K thing. And I signed up for a race like right then. I gave myself enough time in the training plan and just did it. And so I bundled my kids up and I put them in their double stroller. We had this awesome double bob jogging stroller that I never intended to jog with, just to use because it was fancy and awesome. But I got out there and started doing the little intervals that are with Couch to 5K. And with every step, my body felt powerful. And it took away the anxiety, and it just made me feel in control. And it made other things. It made my body hurt instead of my emotions hurt. And it was that power of fitness. And right then I was like, I'm hooked, and I was a runner. And that power of fitness now is something that I want to share with all women. Like when people say they don't want to work out, I'm like, oh yeah, you do. You just don't know what it does for you. So that is my big story that I try to tell. And then I'm going to tell the breakdowns of building the good story. So these are your note-taken moments. So the formula that Chalene shared with us at MIA, step number 1 is tell them what you're going to tell them. So if I was writing that in the post, the first thing I might say is, I'm going to tell you how the power of fitness changed my life as a new mom. And then and think about how you would do it too. And it doesn't even have to be this big, giant story. It could be, I'm going to tell you how clean eating can be simple and easy. It's something super. So don't make this all like has to be huge and big. Number 2 is your intro. So for me, I was a happy mom. I was a new mom, unhappy, feeling like a failure, not liking my babies until someone suggested running. And then your story points. So you're going to tell your whole story, how long it takes to do that. And then you're going to summarize it. So that would be summarizing is for me. And that one was, it's amazing to me that by adding one new thing to my life, like running, it started to give me back to myself. And then 5 is your call to action. At the end of some of these bigger posts, you're always going to want to put, like at the end of that one, I would put, if you're a mom ready for a change and you're ready to start putting yourself first, then I want to invite you to join me in my next challenge group. Comment below if you're ready. That's your call to action. So the story points again are, or the formula is, number 1 was tell them what you're going to tell them. Number 2 is your intro. And number 3 is story points. Number 4 is summary. And number 5 is call to action. So that's your story that's your story model now for all your posts. I try to do it for almost anything. So, will you share the summary again? Yes. Do you want the story points, Laura? Is that what you wanted?
So I got the story points, but will you just go over what your like the summary line that you use?
The summary line for me in that story was, it was amazing to me that by adding one new thing to my life, like running, started to give me back to myself.
Like it ties it back to your intro or your what you're going to tell them. Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then, so that's your story model. And I want you now to think about what you have coming up that you're going to get ready to promote. So for me, it's my Fall Into Fitness Challenge. That's probably what it is for a lot of you right now. So I have already written down 10 things that I know I'm an expert on that relate to that Fall Into Fitness Challenge. And if you can't think of 10 things, she said something where, think of something that you know you're an expert in, now write down 10 things. And she goes, and if you can't think of 10 things, then you're not an expert in that thing. So I was totally like, oh crap, I hope I can come up with 10. But if they start flowing out of you pretty fast. So my 10 things that I'm going to start posting about right now, so people are starting to kind of think about that back to school groove, that the getting into fall time, more structure. Mine are healthy lunch ideas for you to pack for yourself, because remember, my avatar is a busy working mom. 2, scheduling your workouts in with your kids' schedule. And 3, meal prep for snacks and for lunches. So kind of like, how do I make that easier? Because every morning I'm out the door. When I'm going to work, I'm out the door at like 7:30 in the morning. And I have to have everything ready to go for the whole day that I'm gone for all my healthy eating. Number 4 is my how do your kids help with their lunch, which is something I'm really hoping Owen and Lindy start to do soon. Number 5 is my morning schedule, which is like, I have this whole, my morning runs like clockwork. So I'm like, ooh, I should share that with people. 6 is my dinner time, like who prepares it, when, how do we know what we're going to eat each night. 7 is easy hacks to get workouts in. And that's kind of like those days where you kind of got a crummy workout in the morning because maybe your kids didn't sleep, like getting all your steps in or something during the day. 8 is getting up early for your workout, because some people think I'm a total freak for getting up super early before I go to work and work out, but it's kind of become second nature for me. And 9 is scheduling in family time with all the craziness, because that's super important to me. And then the number 10 is making the most of your weekends, because when you're a working mom, the weekends are like, they're like gold. So now you've got your 10 things that you're an expert on, and they're probably not what I'm an expert on, but you're kind of doing this for yourself. Once you have those 10 things, then you think of a story to go with each of those 10 things. So for my healthy lunch ideas, I would talk about how when I was first a teacher, I had no idea I was trying to eat healthy, but I didn't know how to do it. So I was packing lean cuisines and like prepared salad mixes, which are all fine and dandy, but I feel like I make a lot more quality lunches now with whole foods. So that would kind of be my story to tell where I was and how I grew into what I am now. Scheduling in my workouts, I could tell a story of how I'm just a really scheduled person. And if I'm not scheduled, I'm totally lost. Like summertime is like the devil for me, but it's also my favorite time of year. But I just don't have a good schedule. And when I don't have a good schedule, I fall apart. So that would be my story. And then just kind of figuring out that story for every single thing. So then now you're looking at your month and you're going, okay, I need to make a post. And you can look at these 10 things and go, oh, I'm going to make one today about my morning schedule. I'm going to post my workout, and then I'm going to talk about my morning schedule. And then people are going to start knowing that I'm this expert in this area, so that then when I post about my next challenge group, they trust me and they want to join it. So that is your creating a story and how to use that in your coaching. So I'm going to keep going, and then if we do questions, we can just do them all at the end. So if you've just got something and you really want to type it, you can blurt in. Either way. Okay, the last one, if you listen to Chalene she's got 2 podcasts. One is The Chalene Show, and that's kind of about everything that she does. And then her other podcast is Build Your Tribe, and that one is all business stuff. And one thing she talks about all the time is building your email list. And that's like my next big thing right now. And it's kind of scary to me still, but I so know I need to do it because the one thing you got to think about is Facebook is awesome. And I think it's the king of all social media. Instagram is awesome. But the thing that could happen is Facebook is gone one day. And that could potentially happen, or you get locked out of Facebook for some reason, or Instagram. So if that happens and you still have a totally kick-ass email list, you've got that, and you've got those people that you've built this relationship with. So how do you build this email list? This might be something too for some of you that you're like, I'm never going to do this. And don't worry if you're thinking you're not going to, but for some of you, this is going to get that next thing going in your business. So you're going to create a free gift for people, and it's a really simple gift. Don't overthink this. I think that's what freaked me out at first. So for me, I'm looking at making a checklist, like what's my morning routine checklist? That's a freemium right there. Or a shopping list. I want to make an Excel spreadsheet with a shopping list that people can then download onto their computer and they can modify it. Meal plans, which we all already have. We all have these premiums. Mom's Guide to Gliding Through Busy Mornings. I just said that one. Or one that I just thought of was like on total teacher side, but it would still bring people to me, is like a checklist for what your kids should know before they go into school. Because there's all these little things that being a teacher where I'm like, really? Your kid doesn't know how to tie their shoes yet? Oh my gosh, they don't know how to zip their coat, and just little things. So think really simple when you're thinking of those free things that you're thinking you could make. And it needs to be something that you're an expert on. So what you can do, I probably can't do. And that's why I want it from you, okay? So you're going to promote this free thing on your Facebook likes page or your blog. I do most of my promoting on my Facebook likes page because you can do ads. So I still put it all on my personal page too, but I like that I can push those ads out there to people. If you have a blog, you can promote it on your blog. And then you're going to have a landing page, and that's just something that it's just your link that people are going to go to. When they go to it, they'll see a thing that says, sign up for your free checklist right here. And they put in their email and they click, and then that goes into MailChimp, which is what I use for my email collector. There's a whole bunch of email collectors though. And if you want some more ideas on this, feel free to email me and I can shoot you more things and have some back and forth with you on it. So that's kind of what's happening there. And then once they get that free thing from you, then you send them some more free things and some more tips and tricks. You're not just going to give them the free thing and then invite them to a challenge group. So it's free thing, free thing, free thing, free thing. Oh, I have a challenge group coming up. Would you like to join? Free thing, free thing, free thing, free thing. And then eventually, hopefully they do opt into your big thing. And I already said why it's important. I'm kind of going through my notes here too. And if you're kind of trying to do it on your own too, signing up for all these, I found that anything you're trying to do, you can Google or YouTube. My husband knows how to do all this stuff, and I would always ask him to do it for me, but then I didn't learn how to do it, and then all of a sudden I wanted to do it again, and he's busy with his own job, and I'm like, hey, would you show me how to use MailChimp again? So I was always kind of, I just didn't feel confident in it. But doing the whole course, I started being like, oh, if I don't know how to use MailChimp, I YouTube it. And then I actually watch somebody do it, and then I'm able to do it. So know that those are like your best resources. So I'm going to go over what my freemium is. I saw Carly had a question. So I can't see all your things. How do I see your full chat? Do I just click chat? Oh, look at that. There you all are. Okay, so the free gift is given when when you get their email, then so you set it up in MailChimp, and they get put in their email, MailChimp sends them the free gift. And then you even have it set up so MailChimp sends them another email like the next day. And then it sends them another email like a third day later. So everything's kind of in place and works for you once it's set up. But this is why I don't have mine totally set up yet, because I've been like so much. But I do have templates and stuff that I can share with you guys for some of these emails. So my freemium that I'm actually working on right now, it's on my to-do list for tomorrow, is I'm going to create an Excel format shopping list. So when people download it, then they can modify it. And then when they actually get that from me, I'm going to say, hey, like, surprise, this shopping list will actually go with this meal plan that I didn't even tell you I was going to give to you. So that's like their second gift already. And then I think that's kind of it. So, and then I have the 3 to 4 informational emails that I send them after that. And that's kind of, I've got it all lined up. So I was really like, oh, I'm going to try to have it done before I do this so I can just show them all my whole thing. But it's just right there. I'm like, I do have my opt-in page. I just don't have it all linked to something yet. But one thing that I've done a lot of so far is I've gone and found other people's freemiums, and I've opted into those. So you can kind of see how it works and see what it says they send to you, like what they send to you next. I opted into Chalene's 30-day push just because I wanted to see what her videos looked like. I have not done the 30-day push yet, so you can go check out Chalene. She's got some opt-ins on her blog, and some of them are not 30 days. Body Rock was one I went on to and found, but like if you just start kind of messing around and finding these, then you can kind of borrow other people's ideas and make them their own. And then my goal, once I get all these people, is to start having monthly newsletters that I'm sending to them. So I think that's it. I just like puked so much information at you.
That was amazing. I feel like I can't even imagine what you got in 8 weeks, because I feel like that was like 8 weeks worth of information, but like golden information, like not too much though.
Oh, good.
I just wanted to like touch back on a couple of things that I wrote down. Well, I wrote down a lot of things, 2 pages worth, but I loved when you started about telling your story. I was thinking like listening to yours, and I've heard your story before, but just hearing it back is like, what a therapeutic process too. Like as you're starting out as a new coach and you don't really know what you have to offer people, maybe you don't think you have to offer people anything, but it's such a therapeutic process to go through, because we all became coaches or joined a challenge group for a certain reason. I love that that's like a personal development thing right there. Mm-hmm. Very cool to kind of think of it in that way. And then you can share it with other people to help them kind of recognize the similarities between your story and theirs. And then, just talking about what people connect with, it's your story and your honesty and your vulnerability. People are never going to think you're being salesy if you're being real and honest. And, I had a couple posts recently where I just kind of was really raw and open about some things, and I got great feedback from it. But it's scary to post those things. It's uncomfortable. And over time, it does get easier for newer coaches that are on the call, but it's scary to kind of just be vulnerable like that. And then also never think you're telling your story too much. As you grow as a coach, you're continually adding to your network. So don't ever feel like a broken record, because you never know who's seeing those posts. And that's why posting consistently daily is so, so important to just continue to grow and to connect with people. Because just because you post about how running was your transformation doesn't mean people are going to see it every time you post it. So just never think you're being a broken record with telling your story.
And that's been, I'm going to butt in too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Both of us are doing the Josh Coates thing. And I have loved/hated that he's having us do the Transformation Tuesday and Throwback Thursday. It's hard to dig all those things up every week.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get such good response on those posts. You really, really do. And they force you to tell some sort of story. So sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. And then I was just going to say the last thing I liked about when you said to construct your story, you know, we all go back. It reminded me like back in, you know, writing classes and things, you have your summary and create your outline, and then you create your story. Like that totally is what it reminds me of. But it seems intimidating with all those bullet points in the beginning. But, you know, I bet you can say now that because you have all these tools laid out, it's super easy for you to kind of create those stories.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take you 10 hours to come up with that. It's like, okay, these are the points I need to hit, boom, 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 and I can write a post and share it pretty relatively quickly.
And now like listening to Chalene, and she always does the story formula. So now I hear it in every podcast. I'm like, oh, here's her story. Here's her hook. So I really recommend going and listening to some of her podcasts, just so you'll hear that formula in there and you'll be like, oh, there it is. And then hearing other people do it, like Josh Coates has his own story formula. And it's like when you listen to all of them, you start hearing that story formula and it becomes not so, like you said, it's just like easy now.
Yeah. I was just reading Samantha's comment about how I'm a basic white girl in the crowd. I have no kids. I'm trying to get a job. And don't think, I, honest to goodness, thought this exact thing about myself. I'm like, I'm a nurse. I have a good job. I have a beautiful family. Why would people be like, oh, well, what's so important about her that she felt like she needed this extra thing in her life? Well, then I started to, and this probably took me a good year to realize, and you know, I wish I had these tips a year ago, but you realize like, oh my gosh, how therapeutic this process was for me. And now I can see, like when you talked about speak to that person you were 10 minutes ago, I can see that person now. I can see who she was. So I can kind of tell my story a little bit more and never think that, you know, just, I mean, Samantha, in your case, you know, the struggles you've been going, I mean, we've talked about the last couple of months with, you know, the direction your life's going to take, and you don't really know what directions it's going to go, but just know that you're not alone in your story. So never be afraid to tell your story, because you're going to connect with those people. And it's almost like you have more of a golden nugget, because look, majority of us are moms and we all kind of have the same struggles. You kind of like get that niche market of, you know, a different perspective of people. So it may take some digging for a lot of people, but everyone has a story. And I did not believe that in the beginning, but everyone has a story. Bye, Margo.
I was going to say something to that. And the things that I've been the most afraid to share, like, I don't want to talk about I don't want to mention that some moms think that I'm a bad mom because I had a C-section, or that I felt like they thought that. Because I'm like, that's going to turn off all these other moms. I don't even want to mention it. But I've found that I'm like, no, it's so the opposite. Every time I share something that I'm so afraid to share, people just come, like I did the middle school Sarah post, and I was like, I do not want to share this. This is awful. And I also wrote a novel. I was like, I wrote way too much. This is ridiculous. I had the biggest response ever to that post. So I think awesome. The things that you're like, I don't want to share that. People are going to think I'm a big old weirdo. Do it, because they're going to love you is what's actually, and they're just going to love on you too, which is great.
And I love that you talked about in the beginning, you were just like, everybody, I want anybody and everybody to join my team and my challenge group, and I don't care who you are. But it's like you realize as you go along, newer coaches, and then you move on and have been a coach for a while, you realize you do want those people who are like you, who are like-minded. We hear that term all the time, like-minded. Mm-hmm. But that's because you will realize you never want to push people or pull people in this business, or even as a challenger, because guess what? Those are the people who are going to suck away your time and your energy and not follow through. So yes, put energy into them in the beginning, find out what their needs are, but don't get too attached and, create that specific person that you're looking for. Create your avatar, your best friend. I love that advice because that's so true. When you first become a coach, you're just like, I don't care who you are, just join me.
And those are, and think of the people that give you the runaround in the sales and then don't buy. I've learned so much to just let it go so much quicker now, where I used to go back and be like, oh, did you make up your mind? Please, 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 please. I'm like, if I have to do this much work to just get you to decide that you want to do this awesome thing, that's too much.
Well, let's go ahead and open up if people have questions, because I know there's a lot of info.
I have 2 questions. The first one, do you use, what do you use for your landing page to actually collect the emails? Do you use Jotform?
I don't use Jotform. So MailChimp is my email collector. And then MailChimp is linked to my WordPress. I used a WordPress blog.
Okay, so it's just one of the add-ins. Okay.
One of the add-ins. And then I used Thrive. Thrive. It's either Thrive or Lightbox. I got 2 little add-ins. And Lightbox has already made landing pages.
Oh, nice.
It's really nice. And if
I just set up my website, so I need to do that because I'm working on my freemium right now. So
yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, the freemium thing. I just made it I made it too big at first. And there's another one. There's a perpetual. I don't have my phone in here with me because I didn't want to be distracted. Perpetual Marketing, I think. And they talk all about Facebook ads and opt-ins. And it's kind of boring, but it's way informational if you're kind of getting into that side of your business. So.
And shameless plug, thepassionprogram.com. That's my freemium. I'll post more about it later. But my second question is, do you have a schedule? So I know I did the Josh Coates thing too, right? So we have Throwback Thursday, Transformation Tuesday, Coaching Opportunity on Sunday. I am having a really hard time posting just challenge group ads. When do you guys put those in?
So I've been trying, I feel like the last 2 weekends we've had crazy out of town weekends, but in the first 2 weekends of August, I was trying to be really consistent in all of my other posts and really putting my kids out there, putting in everything else that's going on in my life. So then I don't feel bad that so much Beachbody stuff is going on my personal page. It's that whole 80-20 rule. And Stephanie Davies one time said, you're totally in control of that. So if you want to do 80% personal and 20% business, then that might mean you have to share more personal. And same on your business. If you have a likes page, I just try to put more quotes on there and more just random little running posts and recipes, because I always feel like recipes are a nice little gift to people anyway. They're kind of a pain to put on there, and then I don't feel bad when I'm like, oh, a challenge group. And it also looks better when people come to your Facebook likes page, when it's not all join this. And I never feel like the Transformation Tuesdays, I know we put the call to action at the end, but I don't feel like they're too pushy.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't think you still told your story and you're still talking about you.
Exactly. But do you think about it consciously? Okay, Monday and Friday, I'm going to put a challenge group post, or it's just kind of whatever comes up?
I try to now since we've got the Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday thing, I kind of now try to be on Monday, I want this, or on Friday, I want a challenge group post going and I'm going to boost it, and I'm going to boost it really heavy. So
for people who, just to cover what we're talking about with this, we're a few of us are in this art of recruiting with this. His name's Josh Coates. He's from the John Maxwell team, and he does these great trainings for Beachbody coaches. And he talks about, and this is why I kind of reiterated it, to always be sharing your story, even if you think you're a broken record. So he makes us do every Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can be, something related to your life and how your life's different now because of Beachbody. Throwback Thursday, kind of the same thing, but you're saying it again. Again, not a broken record. You don't know who's seeing it. And then Sunday is always a opportunity post. So maybe try and incorporate those into how you post during the week. And then Laura, to go back to your question, what I personally do for my inviting to my challenge groups, I always post something that I know is going to get big traction. And I use my kids a lot. Is that bad? Does that make me a bad mom? But that's what gets the most things. I got 2 kids that drive me nuts, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. But I do things, or, like a lot of people posted that, pick your favorite diamond ring, something that is going to get a lot of traction on that post, because as we know, then more people are going to see your post after that. So that's what I do. I don't necessarily have a specific day. Sundays are great. I think Wednesdays and Thursdays are pretty good. But I just always try and strategically put it after one of those posts.
And I always think anything's good except for Friday. The only reason I would post something on Friday is because I know I want to boost it, and it takes Facebook a little while to approve the ad sometimes. So it would be the only reason I would really post something like that on a Friday. So.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah?
Where you were talking about looking at your list of 10 things and then posting the story about them, is that leading up to your call to action?
I would sprinkle in my call to action throughout that.
Okay.
And because I know that as I'm going through it, I just need to put out a call to action a lot for a challenge group. I give myself 2 weeks to really promote a challenge group. And those are kind of my other things too, like how Laura was saying, how do you make it so it's not just all call to action, call to action? Those are those little things I know I can sprinkle in there.
Perfect, thanks.
And Samantha posted a question in the comments about she wants to host a 3-day refresh group leading into her fall into fitness kind of 30-day challenge group, and are you asking if you want to use the app for that, for just the 3-day refresh?
I've just done, with my 3-day refresh groups, I've done a Facebook page and only had it go for like a full week.
So you do a full week for a 3-day refresh?
Well, kind of like a few prep posts probably.
I do a prep, like 1 day prep, and then the 3 days. And then I usually try to keep people in there like 2 more days after, so people don't just go binge eat afterwards. Because I would. So I know my people probably would too.
Okay. Thank you.
And when I've got all my girls in there with me, I know that we're all holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
I can't do the 3-day refresh without other people.
I know.
I've never done it. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. It's the one that you and Kinsey gave me.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's like great social media, because you can talk about it every day and how you're feeling. And
I love your videos with your husband when you just did it. I was like, Dad, come watch this.
Those were awesome. Make your dad do it with you. And post a video with your dad.
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to get him to buy the Shakeology sampler box and then get the 3-day refresh, and then I'll pay him back for the Shakeology sampler box and use it to sell. So I'm trying.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah. Very awesome. Well, I loved hearing all that stuff. I also didn't do an official intro. Sarah is my upline coach, for people who don't know that, and she's a 1-star diamond coach. I meant to say that in the beginning, but I didn't. Sorry.
It's fine.
Any other questions, guys? And yes, Sarah, if you would please post your notes on the team page, that would be so awesome.
Cool. I will. I know Ryan said I should have them up for all of you to read as I went, and I was like, no.
No, that was good.
No, we won't listen.
Exactly.
Just be writing.
Oh my God, they gotta listen to me. So.
No, but honestly, that was like, I think everyone probably, hopefully, is feeling the same way. Like, that was amazingness.
Awesome. Cool.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. I hope I hope I give them good stuff that they can use right away. So.
Needed to hear a lot of that.
And thank you so much for letting me do this, guys. It was fun.
Yes, thank you. And I will have the recording up. I will have it up in the morning for everybody to share.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.